Welcome, Poetry Changes Lives, my book where poetry and history meet with a thought for the day, each day of the year. Here's the book. It comes in a hardcover version as well. poetrychangeslives.com is the website where you can read all about it and buy the book if you wish. It's I think it makes a nice present to give any friend or family, any anniversary, or just when you want to give someone a little present. It's a book you can dip into, and I hope it's a benign influence. Anyway, on this day in 1809, a very great, talented but troubled writer, author, poet, Edgar Allan Poe was born in America. He's well known now, and he was beset for most of his life with terrible financial problems, perhaps caused by drink, and generally sort of mental problems of depression and manic episodes as well. He managed to work for several newspapers and magazines, but really struggled to make a good living as a writer. Eventually, some of his stories and poems gained recognition, but by then his private life had really started to deteriorate. My goodness me, he married his 13-year-old cousin, and he was devastated when she died, aged just 22, of consumption. Well, his drinking became worse after that, and he died in Baltimore, aged 40, in very mysterious circumstances. Causes unknown. People theorize it might have been DTs, alcoholic induced shakes and all that sort of thing, or else he might have been bitten by a dog and contracted rabies. We'll never know. He, as I say, was a very troubled man, but some of his writing is amazing. And of course, he created a whole new genre of writing, of crime fiction, that hadn't existed before, but he is responsible for the huge amount of work in that department today. People like, Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes, Agatha Christie, and today's sort of crime writers, of which there are many, many. They all owe a debt to Edgar Allan Poe and his great novels such as Murder in the Rue Morgue and other really terrifying books that they're well worth reading today. Edgar Allan Poe, I've always had a soft spot for him. I love that story that he said he could only write well, he said, when his pet cat was draped around his shoulders. And I can just see him sort of writing away rather manically and frantically in his study with his cat sort of sitting, lying perhaps round the back of his neck, looking on rather disdainfully at his efforts. Some of his poetry, though, is quite extraordinary and very gives one a sort of, the imagery in it is very mysterious sometimes, and quite gives you a bit of a shiver as well. I'll give you an example of his poetry here. It's a poem called Eldorado, which was written in response to the California gold rush. I think it's, he was a well-educated person, as you can tell from some of the words he uses in this poem. See what you think of this. Gaily bedight, a gallant knight, in sunshine and in shadow, had journeyed long singing a song in search of Eldorado. But he grew old, this knight so bold, and o'er his heart a shadow fell as he found no spot of ground that looked like Eldorado. And as his strength failed him at length, he met a pilgrim shadow. "Shadow," said he, "where can it be, this land of Eldorado?" Quite a mysterious poem that, but that sort of image of a knight errant looking on a quest, takes us right back to medieval times. I don't know what quite was going through Edgar Allan Poe's mind at that time. We'll never know now. But today I shall set achievable goals, unlike perhaps that poor man. Thank you for listening today.